This narration commentary video will be about the most common arguments that females use and thusly destroying all of them. So here we have in the first screenshot a male making a more than logical and applicable statement and is justified in doing so. As such, females are notorious for picking the incorrect, bad, detestable males ever, and then blaming all men for their shitty taste in males. So, then Jade thus responds with a fallacy. As such, yes, in fact, people can know how an individual will be when they are with them. Obviously, we cannot look in the future. Everybody knows that, at least, I'd hope. But we can look for red flags, for instance. There are simple methods here, and they are paying fucking attention and the legendary putting in some fucking effort. Such as, but not limited to, a combo of paying attention and being patient, as in taking time to get to know the individual with whom you are about to go out with and be with relationally. Go on dates. Talk, aka communicate with him. Get his viewpoints and perspectives on things. Really take the time and the effort to really know the person before jumping into a fucking relationship with him. As such, current day females are just like, we just met, but, you're like so hot, so let's get into a relationship. Or alternatively, we've like known each other for like a month or less, but you're like hot and cute or whatever, so let's get into a relationship. They aren't patient, they are impulsively getting into relationships without taking time to actually get to know the said individual that they are dating or about to date, due to how all they care about is physical attraction and think with their vaginas instead of anything else. Notice how she says sometimes women can be draining too, instead of clearly stating that yes, women can be draining as well. You notice that? Yeah, so did I. And then we have Felicia over there playing the childish redirection of blame game, making his statement into something that it clearly was not, due to her clear emotional reaction instead of one of ration, intellect, and taking time to actually thinking about it before responding. Trying hard to keep the narrative of women being the victims and men being the evil ones and having to go to therapy. The blame game of kindergarten. Fresh. But then we have good old Jack over there kicking her ass with logic. Why would one want to be with a fella like that? As such, it really doesn't have to be. Same men with shit women. And oh my god, did he nail that statement with super accuracy and validity. Shitty females with shitty males. End of story. He then points out how they, the females, are able to choose a different partner and how everything is a choice. Then he further backs it up with another reply saying the absolute truth. Saying, I don't even have to make, I don't even have to make much of this little thread. He really does say it all for me. He went so accurate and truthfully and just straight up points out how they are blaming men because it's easier than accepting the wrong choice in males and made the wrong decisions. Accepting wrongdoing is the first step in moving forward intellectually, meaning like intellectually honest, and relationship-wise, in which he again accurately points out how in her case she clearly doesn't know that, meaning she's still stuck in that childish mind frame. Moving on to screenshot number 2. Zay reverses it onto the females, and boy, that got heated. They got heated about that, I'll tell you. As the females only ever want to live in their little echo chamber, and this common groupthink mob mentality of the female gender. So, of course, naturally, this Dazai female plays the card in which the first female in the first screenshot used again, because again, this is most popular stuff, super popular, and the most common argument of, oh, we don't know that they're going to be like that. And then she makes the claim to fame in an anecdotal way that after 4 years, then all of a sudden he was abusive. Ha! I am sure there were the red flags, and she ignored them, played them off, or didn't even notice them, as many females are so very professional in doing. Clearly, if someone is abusive, they won't be able to hide it for long. And the facade will not be long-lasting either. They will show their true colors sooner than later. 4 years is impossibly long. Someone who is abusive will show the signs way before 1 year in 99% of cases. Because no one can be someone they are not for very long, because their real side will be itching to come out. It's like an actor pretending to be someone. It's like, yeah, they can do it. Yeah, they're good at it. But after a while, they will become understandably exhausted from being someone they are not, mentally, emotionally, and physically. Especially if someone is pretending to be, say, a happy-go-lucky, full-of-life character. They'll be drained of the energy, or just some days not even have it in them to be that character, and then boom, you'll see the real them. It's not hard, but again, it takes effort, patience, and paying fucking attention, which is definitely too difficult for the nowadays female to do. Alright, now on to screenshot number 3. Jake gives them females an equality status as he reverses it right back to him. Wouldn't you know it, though, females don't like or want equality, they want superiority. And to be the only able to blame men for all their problems of the world, so of course they will be upset over this. And so here we have the same old responses. The females wanting him to make a so-called separate post, like we haven't seen enough of those already, and let women have this one, because hashtag echo chamber, and making the fallacy of empowerment, oh my god, in the comments. To what? Hate on men? So empowering, you dink. Then fallaciously claims that he is trying to invalidate what they are trying to say, while it's obvious how much of a hypocrite she is because of how she's clearly doing the same exact thing she's speaking out against. AKA, she's, using her own logic, that is, trying to invalidate him. So again, the usual hypocrisy and contradictive nature of the female gender's failed logic and fallacies in full force. Nothing new, but with an added twist of trying to make it about female empowerment, when in reality, all it is misandry, aka man-hating, and wanting to be in this echo chamber. Jake then rightfully informs her otherwise, of how he isn't trying to invalidate, just some equality in reality is all he was doing. But we know how females are concerning those things by this point now, aren't we? So then Tia falsely claims that he is, because of her ignorance and gender bias, misandry, likeness fallacy, fallaciously stating that he is trying to provoke, which is a joke. But anyway, he responds accordingly in a mature manner, mind you, If that's how they want to ignorantly think, then so be it. And turning it around right back to Tia with her own logic, due to how it's so easily flawed, he goes and tells the truth yet again and points out that if his reverse gender-biased reply is solely wrote to provoke, then so is the original status of this poster of this whole shitstorm. Own like a motherfucker. Then we have April. Oh my god, April. She was commenting on so many people's things. Anyways, then we have April trying to deflect and echo chamber things up a bit because she was unable to come up with anything of true intelligence, logic, or any sort of actual response or argument that took effort. So she went with the default of, make your own post, lol. So original, in sarcasm. It's ironic how she states his comments are asinine, when in fact it's hers is the most asinine of them all. Mind you, the females here were all fat, ignorant, African American, for the majority that is, and unattractive. No wonder they have such hate towards males. Alright, number 4. Kurt states some 50 years of experience stuff of how it's been 50 years and such. Then Kat goes with the default of shut up. Showing her lack of effort, lack of intellect, lack of everything. She just wants him to acquiesce and have him shut up just because it isn't what she believes, and she wants him to say that, because it doesn't agree with the narrative. So rather than do anything else, she just wants to suppress him and invalidate him and oppress him by having him just shut up and take it and believe what she believes, to have him submit, to acquiesce to what their echo chamber gender bias bullshit is. To which Amanda appropriately responds with, bitches are dumb as fuck. To which Kurt adds in to it by appropriately adding in how not all of them use their head. Number 5. Ed states the solution is to stop dating the wrong men. And then we have the emotionalism of April yet again and another fucking thread. Jesus Christ, she doesn't have a life. Anyway, she makes a fallacious claim that there is any sort of deflecting and wants to stick to the gender-biased, slanderous narrative that males are trash. Ed, of course, states the obvious of how obviously males can be trash, but males of a higher caliber know how to treat a lady without any detraction, just facts. But of course, the sexually frustrated and gender-biased, gynocentric, ignorant April cannot have such logic and facts and truth be a part of such a flawed and biased, female-favoring, male-slandering narrative. So she responds with the whole boys and men are different crap. Which, by the way, this is why I don't waste my time on the technicalities of using such terms as men, boys, gentlemen, etc. I just simply stick with the male and female, so idiots like her can't do shit like that. Anyway, ironic that she mentions being held to one's actions when it's the female's actions to get with the shitty male, but yet 100% never want to be held to any sort of responsibility for her part or the consequences of getting with said douchebag. Then falsely and fallaciously states something. I mean, shit, her vocab in English sucks so badly, and I can barely make out what she's trying to state there, but something along the lines of not all men and not hearing women. Anyway, she's literally demanding that he not make it on an equal playing field and force him into this indoctrinating, brainwashing, one-sided, gender-specific attack on the males and force him to that narrative. And arrogantly and ignorantly assumes that he's not, quote, hearing, unquote, women. What a dunce and a git she is. Again, April is a fat, hood rat, ignorant female who's unattractive, so her hostility is to be expected towards males. Alright, number 6. Ah, yes. Jesha. With the good old, it's a fact, because it's what I believe and I said it narrative. Hold up a second. Let me do this for a second. Alright. Jesha is far less likely to seek mental help because she's a retard. It's a fact. Clearly I am correct because this is what I believe, because it's what I believe, and it fits the narrative that I want to get across. It's absolute fact and truth. Huh? Oh, wait, it doesn't work like that. If you're going to claim something is a fact, make sure that it actually is. This is just a flat-out lie, blatant ignorance, and, again, another attempted slanderous attack on the male character. Fallacies are everywhere with females. Holy shit. They're too emotional for their own good to actually think of anything intelligent to say. Number 7. Joshua makes the reverse gender bias status, of which I am happy to see that I am not the only one who does this. And then India makes it what it's really truly about in the global big picture of things, about how it's a people problem and not a gender problem. Then Andrea goes in for a simpleton response of an ad hominem due to how Andrea is too stupid for anything more than that ignorant hood rat. And then here we have yet again April. Oh my god, April. Clearly her fat, uneducated, ugly ass doesn't have anything else to do but go on this thread and comment on everything because she has no social life because nobody wants to be with her ugly, overweight ass and her ugly ass personality and uglier soul. Making the same response to yet another person about going and making a post about women or everyone else on his page or whatever. And blah, 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 of how he should be held responsible for them, blah, blah, blah. But then adds in a little bit of effort and tries to make some sort of argument about how males are the evil ones by way of societal pressure. Well, guess what? Everyone lashes out from time to time. And it doesn't mean such a dramacy as such as, throwing a punch into a wall or breaking someone's face or breaking the dishes or anything like that. Maybe it's just one comment that's yelled out, such as like if a female or a male approaches their partner and they're just like, hey, hey, so and so, and then they reply with, what? That's considered lashing out. It's just what happens sometimes, given the right, albeit unfortunate, circumstances of stresses in life and so on, all coming together and just lashing out sometimes. It just happens. No one is above lashing out. Yet again, this is not a male problem that she's trying to make into a male problem, but yet again a people, human problem. And number 8. Then we have this flawed statement by Ashley, assuming knowledge in which she does not have. By the way, I looked at her profile. Ashley is fat. No surprise there. And ugly as her soul and personality. Again, no surprise in just how ugly her soul and personality are. Anyways, thus this sort of response is to be expected. Assuming that us dudes are more concerned about our so-called bruised egos? What kind of fantasy land is she living in? Clearly, it's obviously gynocentric and ignorant, but still a fantasy land nonetheless. That's what she wants to believe to be truth, because that would invalidate anything said on their gender-biased, man-hating ways, and they can just continue on without being challenged, meaning they would remain unchallenged. But the fact of the matter is, there are no bruised egos, you arrogant retard. We are making it a point to ensure that it's known for equality reasons and setting the record straight that both genders are like that. Nothing, and I mean nothing, to do with bruised egos, moron. Then she goes on to make the false and rather fallacious claim of stating that men are, quote, historically the worst thing to ever happen to women, unquote. LOL, yeah. We can tell she is a sexually frustrated, angry, bitter, sour grapes type female. This claim of so-called historically worst to happen just killed all her credibility in any bit of anything in regard to taking her seriously and her argument. It was just such an outlandish ad hominem statement that I fear that she is actually intellectually retarded. Because yes, it is up for scholarly debate if one wishes to. I don't know why she threw that in there. Maybe she was trying to sound smart by saying scholarly debate. I don't know. But no, it doesn't even take a scholar or a scholarly debate to know that she's fucked in the head, for one, and secondly, she's so 100% wrong on every single level that it's just super flawed, inaccurate, and idiotic logic of hers, or rather, so-called logic of hers. Yipes.